To support this podcast, go to positivesarcasm.com/donate. Any amount is appreciated. Once again, positivesarcasm.com/donate. Thank you and enjoy the program. Jay here, positivesarcasm.com. Nice and snug and cozy inside the spare parts studio alongside New Hampshire's beautiful seacoast. Like, subscribe, share, donate. positivesarcasm.com/donate. Any amounts appreciated. If you want to hit me up on my website, positivesarcasm.com, to go to the contact section. That is one way to get a hold of me for all your questions, comments, or concerns. You can also comment on YouTube and Rumble if you want to do that. You can also hit me up on Instagram at @positive_sarcasm. And if you just want to email me directly, simply email me at positivesarcasm@outlook.com. Once again, positivesarcasm@outlook.com. We begin tonight, and simply with this. These are images that have been obtained over the past several weeks. This is honestly, I don't know what it is, but apparently it is an object coming from a different interstellar orbit. I think. Is that what the proper words was? Whatever. Let's stick to the facts here of what we supposedly know. This is 3IAtlas. There are many questions surrounding it. Obviously, if you go right to Instagram, you get drawings, images, renditions, paths, theories, conspiracies, who knows. The first part of what we don't know is fear. Fear, and then wait, there's this thing, do some research, get a better understanding of what's going on, possible outcomes, decisions. Okay. It's pretty cool. You know what's really cool? When you actually do a little digging and researching, you get a better understanding of actually what the hell's going on. So, what do we know about this? We'll stick with the facts. There's no comedy in this. It's cool that I can see it from an angle of when you go online and you get little snippets here and there, and then you listen to people like Michikaku and Dr. Avi Loeb, all these, scientists and professors and stuff like that. And they talk about the theories and what could possibly be an alternative idea. And then those are the things that get clipped and spread online and get run away with. Whereas we really don't know much yet, but there is some cool information to learn about. So we'll start with the basics. We'll start with NASA, who's currently shut down. Where did this come from? Okay. So 3IAtlas, as far as the naming convention, go figure that on your own. It formed in another star system. Okay. Obviously, if it formed here, we'd know about it, and that'd be interesting. Somehow ejected into interstellar space, which is the space between the stars. For millions and even billions of years, it has drifted until recently arrived at our solar system. It has been approaching from the general direction of the constellation Sagittarius. I'm a Sagittarius. Which is where the central region of our galaxy, the Milky Way, is located. Now, what's cool is NASA is actually breaking it down in like 5-year-old terms, which is, as we know, a lot of people start to act like that when things like this occur. So we're breaking it down in those terms. When discovered, 3IAtlas was about 410 million miles away from the sun, within orbit of Jupiter. How is it determined that 3IAtlas didn't originate in our solar system? Observations from the Comet's trajectory. Just remember, we can observe things and get data as far out as literally outside of our solar system. We have 2 satellites, I think 2 or 3, that are actually officially outside of our solar system. Voyager 1, Voyager 2, and I think one other. I think Voyager 2 is eventually going to run out of life, and it's going to kind of shut down. But it's still reporting data. Its trajectory showed that it isn't moving too fast to be bound by the sun's gravity, and that's what is known as a hyperbolic trajectory. In other words, it does not follow a closed orbital path around the sun. It is simply passing through our solar system and will continue its journey into interstellar space, never to be seen again. Sounds like it's pretty uneventful, right? How many interstellar objects have been discovered? This is the 3rd known interstellar object to have been observed passing through our solar system. Discovered in 2017, Oumuamua, which was the big Michikaku and Avi Loeb were really on about, was the first known interstellar object. The second was 2I Borisov, which was discovered in 2019. Oumuamua had a little bit of a little bit of discussion around it. Controversy. Let's try discussion. Discussion around it possibly being of extraterrestrial source. Ultimately, it looked like a space turd, but it was kind of far enough away where we didn't get much information on it. We didn't get to see a lot of it, but there was some information possibly talking about its trajectory. Was it slowing down, speeding up? Was it able to change course? Things like that. So, is 3IAtlas an asteroid or a comet? From telescope observations, astronomers can tell that 3IAtlas is active, which means it has an icy nucleus and a coma, a bright cloud of gas and dust surrounding a comet as it approaches the sun. This is why astronomers categorize it as a comet and not an asteroid. How big is 3IAtlas? They don't know exactly how big it is. Observations as of August 20th, 2025, they can see that the diameter of its nucleus is not less than 440 meters. It's not greater than 3.5 miles. So not less than 1,440 feet. So it's decent size. I mean, it could mess some things up, but ultimately, there you go. There's some numbers, some rough numbers. How fast is it moving? Very fast. 137,000 miles per hour. Speed will increase as it approaches the sun. Is there any danger of this interstellar object hitting Earth? Simple answer, no. Although the trajectory of the object brings it within the inner solar system, it won't come close to Earth. As the comet journeys through the solar system, it won't come closer than the 1.8 astronomical units, so 170 million miles to our planet. First sighting, a bunch of grainy photos. Shows the observation of 3I when it was discovered in July of 2025. NASA-funded survey telescope in Chile first reported that the comet originated from interstellar space. Government shut. Now, remember, NASA is a government organization, which obviously it's funded by the government. The government's currently in shutdown right now because of bills that won't pass. However, interstellar committees have been organized because of for whatever reason. So obviously there's going to be more cameras pointed at this thing until I guess it essentially makes its way out of our system, which there's 2 dates to be noted. October 29th, which apparently... So right now, according to researchers and Dr. Avi Loeb and Michikaku, first of all, let me get a good picture of it. Let me get that photo up. Let me get this one out of the way. Move that. That one. Nope. We're going to talk about that in a second. This one. So we'll leave that up for now. Okay. Right now, according to the researchers, it is in a blind spot. It's in a blind spot where, we are on the other... It's on the other side of the sun. As far as visually, we're on the other side of the sun. It's so... Okay. There's a big giant star blocking this path from us. So we can't see shit. What's going to happen on October 29th is it's going to be out of our blind spot. So essentially, what's going to happen is we orbit. I'll show that now. Where's that damn orbit? Here it is. And I'm going to keep this in resolve. So we're coming out of the sun's blind spot within the next week. And essentially, as it's in Mars's, it's going to pass through Mars's orbit. It's going to pass through Mars's orbit. And at that time, we're going to be able to get a closer look. But as we're going to be coming up on its trajectory, it's going to be well on its way out of here. All right. And then that's October 29th is when we're going to get the closest look from Earth. Okay. So we can get more information on it. A couple months later, on December 19th, it's going to be passing by Jupiter. Jupiter is a very strong gravitational pull, which is a good thing because generally a very strong gravitational pull. It's extremely dense, which is a good thing because it allows, if there are objects coming towards our solar system, Jupiter kind of grabs it and says, why don't you go this way? And that's a good thing because ultimately it doesn't hit us. Now, don't get me wrong. Space rocks hit us pretty often. A lot of them are so small, they either burn up in the atmosphere or they don't cause any issues, but it happens every once in a while. But ultimately, that's the path from what I'm showing you on the screen. Is we're gonna see it for a hot minute, and then it's just gonna, at 130,000 miles, that space supercar is just gonna continue on out of here. So there's that. But ultimately, NASA is glance AI. I get out of here. I can't stand that. It's going to make its way out of here. They're categorizing it as a comet. That's what NASA's talking about. That's what a lot of researchers are talking about. This is the image that is starting to scare people right here. This one ultimately, now normally a comet has a bright center. It's a little thin at the front. Kind of looks like riffraff. Basically, business in the front, party in the back. That's what a comet is. All right? It's a fireball in the sky with a big-ass tail. Especially if it's heading in a certain direction where there's a gravitational pull. But what's scaring people is that this thing looks like it has a large nucleic center. It has a tail in the back, but apparently also has a tail in the front. That's a bit nerve-wracking. From this picture, if you're looking far away, if it's a decent 20-footer, it looks like its own galaxy. It looks like it has this, shield and structure or whatever. This thing is still, astronomical miles away. There's not a lot of information on it. There's surface telescopes. Surface telescopes are not able to really get a decent image on it. It takes a long time and a lot of money and a lot of pixels to get a true image and to calculate data together. But this is the image that when actually, put together, that actually with movement and then resolution, these are the things that start to make people nervous, that get people scared and causes that fear and uncertainty. So these are the things that have been generating at this point. So ultimately, what is making people... Now, why would you have such an expansive body like that, a space body? Well, first off, it's passing through. I'm not a scientist, but I'm just stating in general. It is passing relatively close to multiple forms of gravity. There's the sun's gravity. There's Jupiter's gravity. There's Venus's gravity. There's the Earth's gravity. There's Mars' gravity. I know they have some gravity, if not much, but ultimately it's passing through multiple areas where the planet or moon or whatever there's multiple gravities kicking around. So as it does that, there could be some forms of this comet that are ultimately being dragged in certain directions. And that could be spacing it out in some way. Some people, according to conspiracy, or some people are speculating that this thing could be a body and it's slamming on its brakes and causing a photo to be it takes a lot to generate a photo. It's causing it to look more spread out. I don't know. I can't tell you. Now, we can go down the hypothetical road, but I'm telling you right now, as far as what this thing is, NASA is stating that it is a comet. All right, it was a known object coming from outside the solar system. It's been discussed over. It's been identified and monitored over several months, and that's pretty much it. There's been some photos of it. But there's nothing really in detail other than the most recent photos. So, but from all intents and purposes, it's just another comet with an icy nucleus that's on its way to our solar system, but it's closer than most that pass through. Because it's passing through multiple large bodies in our solar system, that's what gets people's attention. It's like, that's pretty close. Just keep an eye on that. Now, ultimately, what you don't want something to... Now, here's what can happen. In some scenarios, you have a comet or an asteroid that's passing through. It hits a certain orbit. So let's just say it's passing through, it's well on its way out of here, but Jupiter is approaching. So what happens is, as it approaches Jupiter's gravity tilts its trajectory. It helps change the trajectory of the asteroid or the comet, and then sends it in a direction that's a little too close for comfort. That's to be observed about a certain asteroid apparently approaching somewhere around 2029. Apophis, asteroid Apophis. If it apparently hits a certain, it has firstly maybe less than a 1% chance of being a danger to us. It has to hit that keyhole apparently. This one doesn't have it. It's passing through. We know its trajectory. Jupiter, which is apparently besides the sun, Jupiter has the largest amount of gravity towards it. So if it was on the other side, I could see it changing its trajectory and causing a problem. This one, not because Jupiter's on the other side, it's going to pass by Jupiter, changing its trajectory, but only to the point where it's going to continue out of the solar system, but in a slightly different direction. So it's going too fast to be grabbed by to become an orbit, and ultimately it's just going to keep going out. People are obviously cranking shit up to create some type of hysteria. I'm curious. So let's go down on this brief episode. Let's go down the path of, let's say that these images. This is one that was on X, basically HD motion of 3IAtlas, a mysterious interstellar object cutting through our solar system, captured and refined in ultra detail. Which, okay, fine. That, like I said, captured and refined, that doesn't help me. That actually, if anything, distorts what's true. So this image, this is an actual image, albeit not great. You have to understand. Think about it like this. To take an image of something that is how far away? Hundreds of thousands of nautical miles away, that is traveling at approximately 150,000 miles per hour in the dark. You have to capture something that's literally from here to here. Okay, and then you have light to take into account, distance to take into account. Do you know how long it takes to capture a picture of the night sky in actual detail? I mean, you have to put it at an ultra low, compensate low light settings, and let it sit still, perfectly still, so it captures everything. You have to understand that when you see things light up in the sky, that happened millions of years ago. So this image it could essentially be stretched out, where you take a still image of something, and then essentially the image starts here, starts at the beginning of this photo, and ends at the bottom of that photo. And then there's so many other anomalies that you just can't explain at this point, but essentially they will work themselves out as we get more answers on what exactly is this thing on October 29th. My opinion, most likely at this point, it's nothing crazy. It's just a comet that's just kind of passing through. Let's go down some of the hypotheticals, though. All right. If it is a comet, it's on its way out of here anyways. So that means nothing. Essentially, it's just a really pretty thing in the night sky that we get to observe from a distance, and we go back to our usual TiK Tok boring lives. Not to say your life is necessarily boring. I mean, mine's actually not that bad. It's pretty strict. But I do relax from time to time. But let's say, hypothetically, that it is something extraterrestrial. Okay? That this is actually a structure, a artificial structure of some kind. Whether it's carrying, who knows? All we have to say at this point, let's just say it is something artificial. Full stop. Boom. Don't know what's in it, who's in it, how's in it, why's in it, but it's artificial. All right. Now we've got three different scenarios. Three. Let's do three. Let's just say it's alien tech. All right. How do we react? So October 30th. What day is October 30th? Let's look that up. That is a Thursday, day before Halloween. We get information that this thing is actually extraterrestrial. Okay. First thing that's going to happen is there's going to be, if those images get leaked and there's actually information on it that state that this thing is artificial, well, you're going to see movement in the stock market. So essentially watch the stock market. Because if it is alien tech, the first thing that's going to happen is fear. That's the first thing that's going to happen. Fear and uncertainty is what generally rocks the stock market. So, in that case, you're going to see commodities go up. You're going to see gold and silver go up. You're going to see stocks that have nothing to do with planetary defense or defense stocks. They're going to go down. They're not going to go up. If it is alien tech, you're going to see that fear is going to spread. So companies like Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, which helps with nuclear technology, they're going to be grabbed. You're not going to see a run from the stock market, but you're going to see a shifting in strategies, because if we realize that we as a people in the world are not alone, that's going to change things. It's going to change how we react to it, because it's going to be questions about if this thing is actually extraterrestrial, okay, and it's just passing through. It does not care about us. To us, we're just a trailer park on the side of the road. The question is, how do we react to it? So, do we just let it pass through? Do we consider making contact? Do we consider any hostilities? First of all, nor should we. Because if it's not doing anything to us, there's no reason why we should do anything to it. So there's that to take into account. If there is militarization of a military response. Militarization of a military response. Okay, sure. If there's a military response, an aggressive response towards this thing, that's going to send stocks plummeting. That's going to send, first of all, there's already a lot of civil unrest in many countries already. But as that information spreads and then the fear, blah, 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 there's going to be even more civil unrest. And that's going to cause financial institutions to be like, and go completely crazy. Now, I wish I could say to everybody, hey, take a step back and relax, but that's not going to happen. But this is merely from a standpoint of, if this thing is just passing through, first of all, an amazing discovery. We realize that for the first time, it is confirmed that we're not alone in this galaxy. We're not alone in this thing, this whole thing. Now, religiously, from a religious perspective, not mine, but I'm just stating in general, I think Catholicism, Christianity, Mormon, Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Jehovah's Witness, Protestant, Judaism, Buddhism, Hinduism. I would say the vast majority of religions will be in good shape. I'd have to say they would, because people would basically cling to their faith to know that it's okay, that there's uncertainty out there. Who do I turn to? So I think religion would be just fine. There would be some questioning of, there is no God. It's hey, hold on. We're not even talking about that in general. We're just saying I'm saying generally people would cling to their Bibles. They would. And that's okay. You have to have something to kind of hold on to if this thing was to identify itself as being, of a known origin that was extraterrestrial. And we'd have to redefine there would be discussions about there'd be a shift in strategy. Ultimately, we'd still have to go about our business, but there would be some talks and discussions about, okay, this thing is passing through. It has made no attempt to contact us. It has made no aggressive threats. It's literally just passing through, and almost like it knows that it either knows that we know it's there, or it doesn't know that we know that it's there, or it just doesn't care, Or it is sending information to us and we're just not responding. But here's the thing is we're so goddamn selfish as a planetary species. We'd be like, what, you're just going to pass through? You're just passing through and you're not even going to say hi? First of all, if you were passing through on your little space cruiser and you saw us, would you want to say hi? I don't want any dents in my car. I just keep on driving. Be like, that's a bad neighborhood. You don't want to go there. I mean, it's just, first of all, it's pointless. I mean, people are like, well, we have so many vast resources. Maybe we do. Maybe our water is valuable. Or maybe it's not. Remember, we're a tiny blue marble. Go online and go ahead and do like a zoom out of our Earth. And just get to the edge of our solar system and realize, oh, we're that tiny. And then just keep going farther out. We're not even a speck of dust. We're microbic. We're microscopic in terms of the entire galaxy. Just this one. Just this galaxy. There's so many others. There's the Milky Way. There's the Andromeda. There's so many others. We're tiny. We're infinitesimal. But if it's just passing through and it's like, okay, well, now we have to have this discussion. We know that essentially this is a thing. This has happened. They are out there, which means if they are out there, others are out there. The question is, too, is like, what is in that? Like, where did it come from? Are there beings still on there? Was this a wreck? Like, did they all die off? Is it passing through because there's nobody at the wheel? Essentially, it's on autopilot or it's on no pilot and it's passed through and it somehow managed to make its way out even though everybody's dead and there's nobody on it. Or maybe there is something on it and it does know that we're here, but it does not want to interact. But we know that, and now we have to have this discussion of how do we want to interact with this world, this new world at this point, knowing that there are other beings out there. How do we want to play in this now expanded playground? That's the thing. So now we're at the state that, okay, there are beings out there. What path do we take? How does this redefine the stock market? How does it redefine our relationship with other countries? How does it redefine other religions or essentially refine them? How does it refine our relationships with our neighbors? What's the conversation like at the dinner table? I ultimately like to look at it as a positive, something that could be used to ultimately bring people a little more together. I would like to look at that. Or ultimately, here's the thing, if it's just passing through, a lot of morons are just going to go back to their normal TiK Tok and lives, and they're just going to be doing little alien dances and all this other bullshit and whatever. Now, let's say there are people saying it might be hitting the brakes. Let's just say it is alien tech. There is someone on board. There are beings on board, and this thing is pumping the brakes. And it does want to talk to us, or it does want to not talk to us, but observe us and figure out what's going on. Okay. Well, now we're kind of looking at each other from a distance. It's like, all right, we have telescopes. We know that you're there. You know that we're there. We know that you're looking at us. If you've stopped, we're going to assume as human beings that we know you're looking at us. We know you're looking at us. Whatever you are, you've got your little space goggles, your little space binoculars, and you're tuning in on us, and you're looking, and you're trying to figure out what's going on. Do you send probes? First of all, if you're a highly intelligent species, which I'm assuming you are, if you build this giant yacht in the middle of nowhere, that sending probes might not be a good thing. That might not be a good idea. Why? Well, simple. If that thing parks itself in the middle of our solar system and decides it's going to detach some type of objects that are visible, whether on radar or visually, and we can detect those, that's concerning. That would send the stock market into a spiral. That would create civil unrest because we don't know what those things are. Are they probes looking to check us out? Are they sizing us up? These are the concerning things. Sizing us up, it's like, okay, that's different. Well, ultimately, yeah. Are they looking at us as a mound of ants, or are they trying to figure out whether they should talk to us, or are they just trying to figure out, you know what, they're doing their thing. They probably know we're here. Let's just keep moving. Let's just go head towards Jupiter, and then just kind of skedaddle out of this this area. And then there's that. So it stops. It looks at us. We know it's looking at us, and now we're here. Does it come back? I don't know. So there is that. That's situation number 3. Or number 2, I guess. Either it's just passing through, doesn't know what's there, we're there, or it does know that we're there and doesn't care and just keep moving. There's the secondary scenario where it does know that it wants to check us out. All right. Now there's that. Does it want to send probes? But if it sends probes, maybe we're concerned that those probes are maybe not probes. Maybe they're, I don't know, weaponry. Or it's a strategic setup. So there's that. I'd rather not be the case. If it parks itself, that's cool. That's where that's the cool part. Because if it is alien tech, hey, great. But then if it parks itself, it's like, hold on. Everybody stop. If it parks itself, that means it knows we're there, and it's looking at us. And the whole world stops. The stock market stops. Like, the stock market, I don't think opens that day, because that changes everything that we know. It changes physics. It changes how we view religion, how we view ourselves, how we view others, how we go about our daily lives, how we work. It rearranges all of that. And then if it's sitting there looking at us and we're looking at it, we're sitting here 8 billion deep looking at this thing like, what are you on about? What do? Do we set up a convoy to go talk to it? First of all, if it's passing through, how far away? That's a cool photo. I like that one. So if the closest it gets is basically just a hair closer than Mars, first off, that would take like a year to get there. I think it's what, if you are to, take into account like orbital accelerators, it would probably take like, I don't know, at least a year to get to that type of orbit that it's doing. First of all, it would take, probably like within 30 days to set up a council like, okay, who are we sending? Are we going there to talk? Who's going up there? How diverse is it? Blah, blah, blah. And then going up there, then, okay, what do we do now? So it's going to take a long time to get there. Does it meet us halfway? I don't know. But we're getting there, and if that is the case, we go up, then what? The whole world stops at that point. I mean, stops or slows down. Slows down is probably a better way of looking at it. But tensions are definitely going to be high because we're trying to figure out how we approach the next phase of our lives, because we are not a type 1 civilization. Whereas this thing, in this scenario, is a type 2 civilization. Type 2 civilizations, interplanetary, can travel across multiple solar systems. That's crazy. So, in that case, there's a potential for dialogue. Maybe it teaches us a thing or two. Maybe we're looking at maybe we look at a certain mineral or atom or element the wrong way, and then they go, "Hey, no, you've engineered this the wrong way. You've got the rotary engine all along. It's supposed to go like this and then like that." And then we're like, "Oh, that makes sense. Well, we can't build that. We don't have this type of material." "Yeah, we do. If you just take this one, you put it together," and you're like, "Oh, really?" Like, yeah. "Oh, okay." And then we do that, and then off we go. We're flying around the stars. That's a possible outcome. That'd be pretty cool. But there had to be a lot of cooperation among countries and continents and governments in order for us to do that. That's the one scenario. If it stops and it sizes us up, though, that's a whole different ball of wax. If it stops, if we're beyond the point of Comet now, we're at the point where this is an extraterrestrial ship that is essentially has stopped in its path and it's looking at us. I'm assuming, though, it's not a giant missile because that would be silly. I mean, it would have to. That'd be interesting. A giant missile that size. I mean, you're wasting your efforts here. There's a lot smaller things that could take us out. You could just throw a bunch of space rocks at us, and we'll get disintegrated. But if you are sizing us up, that changes the game. All monetary exchange markets, with the exception of maybe crypto, stop instantly. All stock markets are closed. Because ultimately what would happen is free fall. All circuit breakers, if you want to know about stock market circuit breakers, Google it. Look up stock market circuit breakers. They would all trigger. So essentially we would stop all exchange of publicly traded companies until we figured out what was going on with this thing and how to deter it. We would all go into maximum DEFCON. All nuclear options would be on the table. Because the only way we're stopping something that is potentially hazardous as far as extraterrestrial is to aim a bunch of fucking nukes at it. We don't have any other options. We don't have a space force. We don't. Trust me. I know. We don't have a space force. Our planetary defense would essentially be nuclear. ICBMs, hypersonic missiles. That would be it. Essentially turning old space shuttles into nuclear kamikazes. And now here's the cool thing. There are a lot of our ICBMs, our intercontinental ballistic missiles, Russia has, that we have, that China has, that England has, Japan has. They are capable of, they don't launch just one nuke. They have multiple warheads built inside of them. So let's just say one big fuselage goes around the sun, leaves Earth's orbit, or enters Earth's orbit, and then what happens is it detaches, and then a bunch of warheads detach from it, like between 6 to 12, and then they descend upon their target. So if we sent this thing out, you could have a dozen warheads coming just from one launch vehicle heading towards this thing. Question is, the thing is though, you don't miss. They're not super accurate, but they're accurate enough to cause a problem. Now, so we would be aiming hundreds, thousands. I'd say like what, 10 to 15,000 nuclear weapons on the planet. How many can leave Earth's orbit and head towards this thing? So we would aim everything that we had at it. And be like, all right, dude, if you're going to come this way and you're going to act aggressive, at that point, there's going to be a lot of conversation between world leaders. Xi Jinping, Vladimir Putin, Britain, Israel might not play a part because they're too busy dealing with other stuff right now. The United States, of course, and they'll all be talking and be like, hey, you got nukes? All right. How many can you send up? I can send up this many. Britain, how many can you send up? Japan, how many can you send up? China, how many can you send up? And then the United States, how many can we send up? And they'll be like, all right, cool. In case of X, we do Y. All right. Elon Musk at that point will be asked, hey, how many of those ships can you get up there right now? How many people can you get up there to observe? We're going to need recon. All right. All satellites are going to be fixated on this thing. How many satellites can we get up there to probe and check out this area and get as many photos as we can so we can get an approximate idea of how do we point our missiles at this thing? And the question is, of course, if we send nuclear warheads, thermonuclear, regular nuclear, tactical nukes, are they going to even work? First of all, if you shoot just in general, if you shoot a nuke at a comet traveling 150,000 miles per hour, if you aim it straight, it's not going to do anything. It's not going to do a damn thing. Nothing. You have to hit it with so many from a certain angle just to slightly nick its trajectory. You're not going to do anything to a comet speeding at that distance. But the question is, what type of defenses this thing has if it happens to be of a military use? If it happens to be pressing on us in such a way that we do have to fire nukes at this fucking thing. Is it going to work? Do we have anything beyond that? We have a nuclear deterrent, essentially, as a way of shielding us from potential situations like that. But after that, it's a ground game. Essentially, you're coming. Our nukes don't stop you. What do you do after that? Do you just hang out right there and just fire down on us? Or do you try to... First of all, if you are a fan of like games like Fortnite, I have a simple rule. Never get out of the car. Essentially, if you are going to plan a ground game, that's a bad idea. Because once you enter our atmosphere, we do have a way of fighting back. We do have a way of responding in the air, on the ground, and in the water. Don't get me wrong. You're going to cause a lot of problems for us. You're going to cause a lot of deaths. But eventually we'll figure you out. So my advice to you, if you happen to be an alien, is stay in the car. I would stay up there and do the vast majority of your work up there. So, but at this time, we're not even there. We're not even there. There's just, at this point, there's just this little thing that shows its trajectory. There's, this refined image that doesn't really show anything other than whatever. It's not even a refined image. It's just ultra HD. And then there's this. It's a cool image. I don't know what I'm looking at besides the comet that's been stretched out. I don't know what this is other than it just looks like Close Encounters from the Third Kind. Great movie though. Highly recommend it. But this is all I see is this. This doesn't do anything for me. It's just a bunch of lights. It's cool and all. But ultimately I don't know what I'm looking at. So there's what we'll know more in the next week. Essentially, we'll know if this thing actually is a comet or if it is something else entirely. But at this point, NASA's just like, whatever, bro. It's looks like a comet, smells like a comet, probably going to be a comet, and then it's not going to do anything else. So at this point, looking at all this stuff, they already know what it is, what its trajectory, and great, who cares? So I'm not all that concerned. Once you do some simple research into it, the claims that, unless if you are one of those tinfoil hatters, which have been proven a lot lately, that the government is lying to you. That these answers that are being given to you, that I just read out, where it is the third known interstellar object, it's got an icy nucleus with a bright cloud of gas, blah blah blah, and that it's this big and it's probably going to head this way. If you believe that that's not true and that's basically a cover up for something that is going to park its brakes within the next week, okay. The thing is that we'll know by then. We'll know what's going on because those images will get leaked quickly and people will have a lot of questions. But we don't know anything yet. We can speculate, but at that point we don't know anything. Now, Jupiter, the cool thing is in December, if this thing just keeps on cruising by us, by the time it hits Jupiter in late December, there's satellites, there's stuff over there that is taking pictures and all kinds of other stuff that do orbits around there. And if you go to like NASA's website, it'll show you exactly where all of our satellites are positioned and how they orbit and stuff. It's really cool. Really, really cool. You should check that out. But there's satellites over there that are orbiting and stuff, and they'll be able to get audio data or frequency data from this thing as it passes by. But obviously, if there's other things that are taking pictures near there, whether it's by Mars or wherever, hopefully we'll get some more photos along the way. But don't get me wrong, there's definitely going to be a lot of laboratories that are going to be pointing their freaking Sonys at this thing to get a better understanding of what it looks like, how it's shaped, what its trajectory is. And ultimately, as it gets a little closer, the pictures that you see of it are going to get more refined and more they're going to be more accurate. They're going to be in higher detail. You're going to have a better understanding of exactly what this thing is, because it's pretty close, or it's going to be. But at this point, it's classified as a comet. It's passing through, pretty close by. Unusually, what's unusual is it's passing through several different orbits of places that we, just, hey, it's going, hey, Mars, hey, Jupiter, hey, Mercury, hey, Venus, oh, Earth, hey, what's up? It's just passing through, it's just cruising through. No brakes, all gas, straight through them. And we're just like, oh, okay. Not going to say hi on your way out? Not going to stop for a drink? So, we don't know anything. The vast majority of us. So I'm not going to claim to either. But I think it's cool that it's become like a little phenomenon on top of all the phenomenons that we've been dealing with. And what's interesting is we have another week before we come out of the dark, out of the blind spot, and start getting images again of what this thing is. And it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But if it's just a comet, it's going away. Like, this whole thing is just going to be another phenomenon with a trail of speculation behind it, and then we're just going to move on because there's nothing else to report. It's a comet. It's leaving. Bye-bye. It's just, if it's of an opposite sort, that's when everybody's going to be like, whoa. Honey, cancel our trip. So, for now, we wait and see. And for now, I stop rambling. You can find me on Instagram at @positive_sarcasm. Like, subscribe, share, donate. PositiveSarcasm.com/donate. Any amounts appreciated. You can email me directly, positivesarcasm@outlook.com. You can message me on Instagram at @positive_sarcasm, or you can contact me directly through my website using the contact section. And there you have it. And, of course, available on YouTube and Rumble. And then, of course, audio version of this podcast anywhere podcasts are available. Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Podcast Addict, Apple Podcast. There you go. You have it. We're done. Informational podcast about the unknown. It's very interesting. I wanted to just kind of chime in my 2 cents. I don't want to, like I said, I'm not here to cause hysteria. I'm telling you what is true what is out there for information about this thing. That they're apparently, all you see is images on Instagram. Because here's the thing is, right now, Instagram is faster than YouTube when it comes to getting data, whether it's right or wrong. Right now, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter are the fastest forms of information, faster than anything out there, because ultimately it's community info. It's picture up online. There it is. Boom. YouTube, it's got to be, put in production and posted. So it takes more time for the person to go live and things like that. So there's more to it, way more to it. So, but of course, it could also be wrong. So just keep that in mind. Anyways, we'll find out more next week. And if I don't report on it, then it's nothing. In the meantime, thank you for listening, watching, and subscribing. I'm hungry. I want some Chinese food. I'll talk to y'all next week. Recorded here from the Spare Parts Studio alongside New Hampshire's beautiful seacoast in my flannel apple-picking jacket. For entertainment purposes only. This has been a Positive Sarcasm presentation.